gotta do that too. It's terrible. I don't even know which way this goes. Okay, well, I'm just gonna do that. Hey, do I have time to run down to my car and get a sweater?
I can loan you my jacket if you want.
I anticipate this meeting's gonna go very quick.
Danny, if you want my jacket, you can just have my
Yeah.
jacket. Or you can get your sweater.
Can I go get my sweater?
Yes.
I turned it up before that meeting with something.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I can tell.
Well, it's better than last time when it was like 98.
We were practicing podcast.
Yeah.
So they don't sit back.
Happy Sunday, Linda. Yeah, we're gonna eat. Thank you so much for doing that. I'm sorry.
Hey, congrats, Danny. Nice.
Furniture, outlets for the building, medical furniture, the fabric's not supposed to be cheap.
Fabric's not available?
One last chair.
back to order for our regular meeting. And if we could have the Pledge of Allegiance offered by Planner Giamon. Thank you. First item is approval of the minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the minutes as written.
I second the motion.
Thank you. We have a motion before us, if we could vote. That motion passes 5-0. Moving on, public comments. Anybody wishing to address the Planning Commission can do so at this time for any items that are not on the agenda. So, Madam Secretary, do we have anybody wishing to speak?
No, Tammy.
Thank you. Moving on, consent calendar. There's no items on the consent calendar. Public hearing on the historic resource inventory. I believe that's been postponed. Do we have a date certain on that yet?
We do not have a date, but we will renotice, both in the paper and individually to property owners that are identified in the inventory.
Thank you. Old business? No old business. New business. Item number 4, approval of a de minimis project waiver from a coastal development permit CDP 17-0011 waiver allowing construction of a 3784 square foot single family dwelling on a vacant lot located at 32561 Sea Island Drive. Do we have a staff report?
Just for a point of clarification, is this a receive? We're not making, there's no public hearing, right? We're not making a vote, we're just receiving the information?
That is correct. Through my really brief report, maybe I can provide some explanation. We don't typically do de minimis waivers. However, there's a provision in our local coastal program that if we can make certain findings, a de minimis waiver can be issued, which eliminates the need to do a coastal development permit. In this case, the project met those findings. The community development director issued the waiver. It does not become effective until it's reported to the Planning Commission. If two-thirds or one-third, I apologize, one-third of the commission feels that a full CDP should be considered, we'll table this item and bring it back as a full CDP. But basically the decision before is either to receive the report, or if one-third wanted, it would be referred as a full CDP. And we should take public comments.
So do we need a staff report then? Are we having a staff report?
I believe that was the staff report.
Oh, that is the staff report.
I'm sorry.
When he said short.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm wondering why you're here then.
Just hanging out.
Just for giggles? Okay. Do we have,
Should ask though if there's any request to speak.
okay, no request to speak, no public comments. Our door's not being beaten down. Does any commissioners have any comments on the item? Okay, so I'm sorry, Commissioner Nelson, you're right. So do we just say receive and filed, or?
I think we should ask if there's any objections to the de minimis waiver, and if not, we'll go ahead and receive and file the report.
Okay, do we have any objections to the de minimis waiver? Okay,
Seeing no objections, it's received and filed.
okay, thank you. I think we're gonna set a record tonight.
No way.
Item 5, appointment of a planning commission member to the homeless task force. That was brought up last week. I guess, do we have any volunteers?
I would volunteer.
Do we have any competitive volunteers? Or multiple people like to attend for any interest?
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Murphy, very much. So I'm sure we'll all,
It's right up my wheelhouse, being a public defender and, you know, working with homeless people for decades.
okay. Awesome. You sound like the perfect person for the task force. They're going to be lucky to have you.
We need to have a formal vote.
I don't know.
Let's go ahead and do a vote.
Okay.
So who made the motion?
Roy,
I move that we elect Commissioner Murphy to represent us at the Homeless Task Force.
I would second that.
that passes 5-0. Great. Next section, staff reports. Do we have any staff reports?
Nothing to report. I just want to thank you for the workshop. I know it's arduous task going through that, and we appreciate the feedback, and we look forward to bringing it back on the 13th.
Thank you. Commissioner comments? We could start at this side for a change. Commissioner Nelson?
You didn't beat a record just to make sure I'm keeping my record clear. That was fun today. I enjoyed that process, and Sean did a good job getting it prepared. So, other than that, good. That's all I have.
I just have one comment because, you know, we like to show our appreciation for our Dana Point support staff and for Dana Point, everybody that works for our beautiful city. And I have I'll make this very quick, a huge Chinese elm in front of my house, which is part of it's a city tree because it's in the green belt and then there's a sidewalk. And also with that, I have an African sumac, which grows like a weed, and I love it. But it's a city tree, and I would never want anybody to take those trees out. And but they had become for the last 3 years so huge. I think the Chinese elm is the biggest tree in all of the area where I am up there, and you know, the people came out as they always do every year and cut them back and did a beautiful job. No complaints. We're so clean, cleaned up everything. That's just typical of all the people that work for this city. It's just, you know, it's always so gratifying to see that we are so fortunate to have our city and our city government.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I agree wholeheartedly. I went to the bulky item pickup deal at Dana Hills on Saturday. It's super well organized. It's a great event. I'm sure it's built into our rates, but I appreciate it. I'm sure it helps many, many people get stuff out of their garages and houses, and so anyway, I'm thrilled to be here too. And I saw a license plate the other day that says "I love Dana Point," and I thought that was great. So I took a picture.
I did bulky item well, but packed the truck wrong, so it was wrong order. So have to learn from that. But great workshop today as well. I agree.
No comment.
Thank you. With that, I move to adjourn the Planning Commission to the next scheduled meeting on Monday, November 13th, and look forward to the zoning cleanup stuff then.